Do you dare to uncover the truth behind the shadows that haunt your darkest nightmares? Prepare yourself, for some secrets are better left buried. Ethan, a man adrift in a sea of debt and despair, stumbled upon the ad. Property caretaker needed, remote location, excellent pay. It was a lifeline, or so he thought. The client, a reclusive heir, spoke of an ancestral property, deep within the forgotten woods, a place untouched for decades. The job was simple: clean out the old man's condemned estate, prepare it for a mysterious maintenance. Ethan, desperate and weary, ignored the unsettling chill that crept down his spine. He accepted, sealing his fate with a handshake. The journey was a descent into an oppressive silence. Ancient trees, gnarled and skeletal, clawed at the sky, their branches forming a suffocating canopy. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, as if the very forest held its breath. Ethan's old truck groaned, its headlights barely piercing the encroaching twilight. He felt an unseen presence, a prickling sensation on his neck, as if countless unseen eyes watched his every move. The road, barely more than a forgotten trail, twisted deeper, pulling him further from the world he knew. The isolation was absolute, a suffocating blanket of dread. The house materialized from the gloom, a skeletal silhouette against the dying light. It was a monument to decay, its windows like vacant eyes staring out from a crumbling facade. Boards were nailed haphazardly across openings, a futile attempt to contain the horrors within. A profound sense of abandonment clung to the structure, a palpable aura of despair. Ethan hesitated, his hand trembling on the door handle. The air around the house was colder, an unnatural chill that seeped into his bones. This wasn't just an old building, it felt like a tomb, a maw waiting to swallow him whole. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the stench of forgotten things. Shadows danced in the dim light filtering through grimy windows, twisting familiar shapes into monstrous forms. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of debris, echoed like a whisper in the vast, empty space. Ethan moved cautiously, his flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive darkness. He found himself in what must have been a study, its shelves stripped bare, its fireplace cold and dead. In a forgotten corner, half buried under a pile of collapsed plaster, lay a small, ornate wooden chest. It looked ancient, its dark wood scarred by time, its brass fittings tarnished with age. A strange compulsion drew him closer. The chest was heavy, its lid stubbornly sealed. Ethan wrestled with the rusted latch, a growing sense of unease battling his morbid curiosity. A voice in his head screamed, "Leave it. Walk away." But another, darker impulse urged him on. With a final, desperate heave, the latch groaned, and the lid creaked open, revealing a single, unsettling object. Nestled within was a book, bound in what felt like dried, stretched skin, its pages yellowed and brittle. It was wrapped in a faded, blood-red cloth, and etched onto its cover in a script that seemed to writhe were the words, "Those who read this shall know the truth about the boogeyman and his relationship with Bloody Mary." A cold dread seized Ethan, but he couldn't look away. His hands trembled as he unwrapped the cloth, the ancient fabric feeling strangely warm against his skin. The book fell open to a page, its ink faded but still legible. It spoke of a forgotten pact, a monstrous union born of despair and dark magic. "This is the origin of the boogeyman's son," the text declared, "once known, but now forgotten. The child of the boogeyman and Bloody Mary." The lore unfolded, chilling him to the bone. In the 18th century, the boogeyman, a primordial entity of fear, had witnessed Mary's execution. He offered her eternal life, a twisted immortality, in exchange for her hand. Mary, consumed by rage and a thirst for vengeance, agreed. Her beheaded spirit, bound to the boogeyman, conceived a monstrous offspring. This boogie thing was a parasitic entity, a shadow that haunted the living. It stalked the fragile, the alone, those prone to feeling like outcasts, feeding on their very life force, their disparate sustenance. A faint scratching sound echoed from the back of the room, a sound like nails dragging across wood. Ethan froze, his eyes darting to the shadows. The air grew heavy, colder, and a putrid stench, like stagnant water and grave dirt, filled his nostrils. The scratching grew louder, closer, accompanied by a low, guttural growl that seemed to vibrate through the very floorboards. He didn't want to turn, but an irresistible force compelled him. As he slowly pivoted, a form coalesced from the deepest shadows. It was tall, gaunt, its limbs unnaturally long and twisted. Its eyes, two pinpricks of malevolent light, burned from a face that was a shifting canvas of shadow and bone. This was the boogie thing, and it was right in front of him. A scream tore from Ethan's throat, but it was swallowed by the creature's guttural roar. The boogie thing lunged, its skeletal fingers like talons, closing around his arm. An icy coldness spread through him, a sensation of his very essence being siphoned away. His strength drained, his vision blurred, and a profound weakness enveloped him. He was dying, his life force being devoured. His eyes frantically searched for anything to fight back. His gaze landed on a loose brick from the crumbling fireplace, heavy and jagged. With a surge of primal terror, he wrenched his arm free, grabbing the brick. He swung wildly, a desperate, instinctual blow, connecting with the creature's head with a sickening thud. The boogeyman's son recoiled, a shriek of pure malice tearing through the air. It was stunned, but only for a moment. Ethan didn't wait. Half dead, his body screaming in protest, he stumbled, limped, and crawled towards the door. The house seemed to stretch, the shadows reaching for him, the whispers of the boogie thing echoing in his mind. He burst out into the night, gasping for air, the cold air a shock to his burning lungs. He didn't look back, didn't dare. He fumbled for his keys, his hands shaking uncontrollably, his vision tunneling. The engine roared to life, and he slammed the truck into gear, tires spitting gravel as he sped away. Fear, raw and absolute, contorted his face. He drove until the sun began to paint the horizon, until the last vestiges of the forest were behind him, but the cold dread remained. The screen cuts to black. Sunlight streams weakly into a sterile hospital room. Ethan, 40s, pale and gaunt, sits in a wheelchair, half of his body limp and unresponsive. His eyes are wide, unfocused, haunted. A nurse, 30s, kind but weary, stands beside him. Softly. "Ethan? Can you tell me what happened out there? Just a little bit." Ethan's eyes slowly turn towards her, a flicker of terror igniting in their depths. His lips tremble, and a single, raspy whisper escapes him. "The boogie son." The nurse frowns, confused, but a chill runs down her spine. Ethan's gaze drifts to the window, his eyes fixed on something unseen, something that still lurks in the shadows of his mind. The silence in the room is heavy, pregnant with unspoken horrors. If the shadows of this tale have gripped your soul, if the whispers of the unknown call to you, then don't let the fear consume you. Share this chilling story with those who crave the dark, and subscribe for more tales that will haunt your waking hours. The boogie thing is out there, and it's always watching.